Hello, Night Nation. I'm Trey Strocco, joined by Adam Eaton. Welcome into Sons of UCF Live. Adam, no bye week for the Sons. We've had interns out and about. We've done many shows. No rest for the weary at the Sons of UCF.
It's been an eventful week. It's been an eventful 10 minutes, by the way, friends. Programming announcement off the top of the show. Our good friend Nick Patty, last minute conflict, unable to join us for the show tonight. So he sends his apologies. He will come back on with us very soon, Trace. But that just means all of you're stuck with us for an additional 10 minutes tonight. So enjoy the time with Adam and Trace and Adam and Trace Fun Hour.
North versus Central, 2-0 UCF, which defeated North Carolina A&T on the last one out before the bye, 68-7, takes on 2-1 North Carolina. I got to tell you, with the weather, the hurricanes, I never thought we'd see a North Carolina game against UCF.
Yeah, listen, it's funny. This was scheduled back in 2016. First game 2018. Second game supposed to be 2020. If I had told you in 2018 we won't play till 2025, and when we do, it'll be Scott Frost versus Bill Belichick, I think you probably would have had me committed. But that's where we are, Trace, and really an interesting matchup. I've spent this week talking to some UNC folks. We have some stuff we'll play later on for everybody, and they're as confused about their team as we may be about ours. So this is going to be a really interesting matchup in the bounce house. I think it'll be interesting to see which team kind of rises to the top here and which team sort of takes hold of this game. But a really interesting matchup. But finally, UCF and UNC. A lot of weird connections, by the way. I didn't realize between this program. I was on an interview today, and we were talking about 2017, and it was pointed out to me that Mike Hughes originally was committed to North Carolina, left late, came to UCF late in the season, of course, and obviously led UCF with that huge kick return. So a lot of interesting inner connections here between UCF and North Carolina.
You mentioned 2018. You would have never envisioned this coaching matchup. Which is more surprising to you, Bill Belichick with North Carolina or the return of Scott Frost? I think the former instead of the latter.
Yeah, I think so, right? I don't think there's any chance anyone thought Belichick would be in college at this point. I think, he would be running a NFL program, if not the Patriots, someplace else. So that's probably the although both very unlikely. I guess I'll give the nod to Belichick on that one.
These two teams match up in the bounce house Saturday at 3:30, and the preview is the subject of our One Big Thing with Andrew Cherico.
One Big Thing.
UCF took care of business the first 2 weeks of the season. Now, after a bye week, they're prepared for North Carolina to come to the bounce house, led by legendary head coach Bill Belichick, posing their first true challenge of the season under the spotlight. Although North Carolina is a non-conference opponent, this will give the Knights a real opportunity to see where they stand in the Big 12. And despite the optics of a huge matchup, especially being on national television, UCF views this as just another game.
No, we're not putting anything more into it than it's just our next test. And I hope our kids see it that way. I think they do. I think they're on a very similar trajectory to us. Anytime you have a new coach in this era right now, the way college football is, you're rebuilding completely. I watched one of their games. They said they had 70 new players. We have 69 new players. It takes a while to get all those players playing together and to the level of your expectations. And I think we're on a similar path to them with similarly new players and new teams.
On Monday, Coach Frost revealed that quarterback Cam Fancher was cleared to practice, but was still unsure on his condition to play. After a recent appearance on 96.9 The Game Radio with host Mark Daniels, Coach Frost still hasn't revealed the starter against North Carolina, where the Knights have an opportunity to advance to 3-0, where they kick off on Saturday at 3:30 p.m. and the bounce house. And until next time, I'm Andrew Cherico for the Sons of UCF.
Now, on Around the Kingdom, you play the role of fact checker. Could you help me with this one? Did Scott Frost say the player number was 69? I thought a couple of weeks ago it was 63 new players. Every time UCF talks about this, the number changes.
They got to get some alignment here. I think 63 was in the media guide, and I think Frost says 69 new players. Maybe he's talking. I don't know. Who knows, man? It's a lot, and it's got to be North Carolina and UCF have to be two of the top programs in terms of roster turnover from year to year, right? Like they have to be in the top 5 as programs, right? So I think it's an interesting, fitting matchup considering all the newness that's on all teams. But 60, 63, 70, it's all the same with this. It's a rounding error at that point, Trace.
You know what surprised me in the media availability on Monday? We got Dwayne Thomas Jr. and Antoine Jackson. Why didn't we get Rodney Laura, the North Carolina transfer? Of course, he with a fumble recovery in the end zone against North Carolina A&T. Wouldn't that one have made some sense at the podium on Monday?
It would have. It's funny. Again, I was on the Tar Pit podcast last night. If you haven't checked those guys out, feel free to. They do a great job, and they were really sad about losing Rodney Laura. They actually really liked him and thought he was going to be a good piece for North Carolina. They actually kind of low key accused UCF of stealing him and offering him a lot of money. I then quickly corrected them.
Wait, UCF?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. I was like, listen, I hate to break this to you guys.
North Carolina is accusing UCF.
That's what. Accusation, maybe a strong word there, but they were like, oh, yes, UCF offered him a bag. And I was like, well, hold on a second. So they were disappointed to lose Rodney Lord. He's obviously had a really good, a really good run for the Knights. 8 tackles on the year, 3.5 tackles for loss, 1 sack. I mean, he's been a name. We've talked about John Walker, Horace Lockett, RJ Jackson. We didn't talk a lot about Rodney Lord, but he's quietly had himself a solid campaign. Curious to see what kind of impact he could have for the Knights on Saturday.
You know, another wild card in this one, and we talked a little bit about it earlier in the week on the various shows, is the play of the offensive line. That's something that we've looked at over the first 2 games. A bit of a promising update on offensive line coach Sean Clark. Of course, you recall a week ago, UCF announcing that he was hospitalized with a medical situation. Scott Frost on his weekly radio show saying, I will say we'll be getting some good news, better news. It looks more encouraging. Now, I think getting that news kind of lifted the weight of worry to some degree off of everybody. You got to say that Coach Frost players, you could feel it in the media room on Monday, just that tension of not knowing what was going on with Coach Clark, him being away from the team, dealing with some medical issues. So a bit of a positive update from Coach Frost on Coach Clark.
Yeah, there's a meal train out there for the Clark family. I have it on screen. There's the website if anyone's interested in checking that out. And yeah, Trace, it was certainly interesting to kind of feel the mood out of the team at the podium, even throughout college football. We saw, Bill Belichick opened his press conference by talking about, Coach Clark, throughout college athletics, people have been talking about, his impact on the game. And so obviously the Knights will play with some heavy hearts, right? And it's really interesting, Trace. We've all been through situations maybe that are uncomfortable, and UCF's going to have some emotion, right? So how do you use that emotion? Do you use that emotion to maybe, spurn you forward and try to work a little harder? Or is it something that kind of gets you down? So it'll be interesting to see an unfortunate subplot to the game on Saturday, but encouraged by the news of Coach Frost. Obviously, again, they don't owe us updates. And so it's appreciated whenever we can, hear more about Coach Clark, but, our continued wishes and prayers to him. And if anyone's so inclined, there's the website on screen there if you want to check out the meal train and if you want to send some wishes to the Clark family, as obviously they're going through a really tough time right now.
Offensive quality control coach Alex Farah, known as Bear amongst the team, will be filling in this weekend. Coach Frost indicating they may try and get another coach to come in because there are a lot of bodies to pay attention to in practice. You may remember our Nick Williams captured some video of a player colliding with Coach Bear during preseason camp, resulting in some stitches. He got knocked around a little bit, Coach Bear did. At the Tuesday media availability, I asked offensive coordinator Steve Cooper, how does this all work from a logistics standpoint? Let's listen to that exchange. When you're missing a coach, what do the logistics look like? You have Alex there to help, but have you had to get more hands-on, or how have you worked it?
Yeah, Coach Farah, so Alex, we call him Coach Bear. I had to ask him before I went there, how do you pronounce your last name? Because I just call him Coach Bear, and he is Coach Clark's handpicked assistant. I think his title is Assistant Offensive Line Analyst. And he works hand in hand with Coach Clark, and he's done a tremendous job of taking the load over. And then where we've been able to help him is like maybe myself or Coach Frost will get involved with the drill. The rest of our quality control assistant coach has done a good job of picking up some of the slack because Coach Bear is, really responsible for a lot of things that goes into the prep for what practice looks like in the game plan too. And, he's just, he's taken on extra obligations, and he's done a tremendous job with that. He's a pro. It's a guy that's coached his own room before, so this is nothing new to him in regards to running the room. The bigger issue is just, you almost have 20 offensive linemen, and he only has one set of eyeballs. So to your point, yeah, we're trying to, in the meantime, try to get some of the other staff just a little bit more involved with some of the drills. But he's doing a great job with those guys.
How important is that continuity of having him be a part of it?
Yeah, it's a big part. Like nothing's changed in relationship to what we're teaching and what Coach Bear teaches. He obviously worked with Coach Clark all the way back at App State, so they're very familiar. They teach a lot of the same fundamentals. So it's really like nothing's changed from that standpoint. It's just losing a set of eyeballs is a tough thing, and we're working through it.
I thought a key there was when he said they'd work together at App State. So they know one another and they know the system, and maybe the best person having right there is Coach Bear to fill in at least for this week.
Yeah, both Coach Cooper and Scott Frost both said that Alex Farah was a hand-picked assistant by Sean Clark, right? Which obviously shows their relationships, but shows there must be alignment in terms of how they think about offensive line play. And again, I think your question about continuity was important, right? Obviously, that room's going through a lot right now. Having a continuous voice that they're familiar with, that they know, I think certainly helps out. But there will be a gap at some point, with the loss of somebody as good as Coach Clark and a veteran coach like that. So you just hope that the rest of the staff sounds like is rallying around them, and they'll find ways to make the adjustments needed there. But certainly interesting to think about, right? And probably not a wrinkle any of us had ever wanted to think about. But again, unfortunately, sometimes life pops in the way of football. And it sounds like this team, from what Frost and Cooper are saying, the resiliency will be the thing that maybe defines this UCF team. So we'll see how they pan out on Saturday.
Coach Frost on Monday, again during his radio show midweek, not saying anything about QB1. When we last saw the Knights, Taven Jackson was leading them. Cam Fancher cleared to practice. We don't know what his status will be for Saturday. What are you anticipating?
I anticipate Taven Jackson running out of the tunnel as QB1, right? If at the time of Coach Frost's presser, Cam Fancher was cleared to practice and that they weren't sure much else, you've got to get a game plan in place at some point, right? You got to start figuring that out. So if you're not even cleared to practice at that point, I got to suspect that he's not quite ready for game action yet. So I expect Taven Jackson to run out as QB1. Again, just a guess on my part. We don't know anything more formal than that. I also expect a little bit of wrinkle of Jakari Brown. I really think that this may be the game where UCF kind of opens up that wrinkle in the playbook and kind of showcases that skill set that Jakari has. So, but I expect, based on what Frost is telling us, if Taven's just getting cleared to practice now, he's probably not in game shape. We hear there's being in shape and being in football shape, right? So I imagine if he's just getting cleared now, he's probably got a couple of weeks before he may be ready for game action.
I had to laugh at Coach Frost saying Bill Belichick. Of course, he was asked many questions about his time with Coach Belichick with the Jets and what does he do well? He takes away your strengths. And Coach Frost saying, I don't know what our strengths are, which is something we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks. This is really a game where we're going to learn a lot more about this 2025 night team.
Yeah, it sure is, right? I've been racking my brain. I know you and Brian Peterson talked about this on Around the Kingdom. What are the strengths of UCF, right? I think outside looking in, trying to pick up context clues at his press conference when Bill Belichick was asked about UCF. I mean, one of the names he mentioned by name was Miles Montgomery, which may lead you to think that he obviously studied the running back room, knows that running back roster really well. So is that the thing that they try to take away and say, hey, whomever the quarterback is, I assume they recognize that, Scott Frost may be having a little subterfuge here with his quarterback announcement. So perhaps their philosophy is whomever the quarterback is, beat us with your arm. Let's take away Miles Montgomery. Let's take away the running attack. Again, just conjecture on my part, but that was the name that Bill Belichick had at the tip of his tongue to talk about UCF. So clearly something with that running attack and Miles Montgomery caught his attention.
Of course, North Carolina's blowout loss to TCU in week 1, it feels like it took some of the juice out of this game. I know it's 3:30 on Fox, but it does seem to have less energy. A little skirmish amongst social media and fan bases with something Coach Belichick said as courtesy of WRAL's Pat Welter. Let's listen to Coach Belichick from earlier this week.
Preparations for Central, and it's another good football team. I know Scott does a good job down there, but we'll have to, gear up for what they do, and they've got a lot of skilled athletes. They get the ball in space a lot, and defensively they got some explosive guys we're gonna have to handle. So
I kind of embraced the Central thing this week. So if some North Carolina fans thought there'd be outrage from Night Nation, I haven't seen it.
It's again on the Tar Pit show last night. They asked me, they're like, "Hey, why are you guys so mad about this Central thing?" And I was like, "Hey, I hate to break the fourth wall for you here, but like this is kind of faux outrage. Like this is more so us having fun with the whole concept of Central, knowing that Bill Belichick is one who doesn't worry much about details and what he says, and is kind of a curmudgeonly 80-year-old coach, right? So I think this just fits in well with where we are. So in my view, faux outrage. I think people are having more fun with this than they are really mad about it. But it kind of brings you back a little bit, Trace, like to the early parts of UCF kind of, becoming a team that was on the rise in 16 and 17, even with social media. The social media team changes the bio on Twitter to say home of Central football, right? That's, if you all remember how the social media team started, they were cutting edge. They were always kind of the first ones to do stuff like that. And now everybody's kind of doing that. So it kind of feels good to have a nice organic moment like this where something happens and the fan base can have some fun. Again, the fun is back. I don't know that we were having this kind of fun the last couple of seasons. The fun is back. And I don't suspect anybody's outraged. I'm not outraged. I think it's fun. I think it's funny. I think it'll be one of those things in a couple of years where somebody will call us Central and it'll be an inside joke about, hey, do you remember that time when? And so I think it's fun. I think we should embrace it. I think there's a lot of cool, creative ideas out there on how to leverage Central. And I will say this, Belichick at his presser the very next time at the podium, no Central references. Everything was UCF related. So I think it was just a guy who's just not used to coaching in college, not knowing the name of a team coming up and just spitting out a word and not knowing what he's doing. But I think faux outrage on a lot of Night Nation's part.
Off season, some those of you who watch the Suns were frustrated with us when we keep saying there are more questions than answers. We don't know. And now UCF has played 2 games. I still feel like there are questions. We talked a little bit about the quarterback and maybe some uncertainty along the offensive line. It was Steve Cooper on Tuesday who said, it comes down to football, right? Blocking and tackling. And that blocking, the rush blocking is very important. And the play along the lines could be the difference maker. We're going to get a test much stronger than North Carolina A&T. Earlier in the week, you spoke with Latavius Murray, the former Knight running back Hall of Famer, about that very topic. But what did he tell you, Adam?
It's really interesting, Trace. I mean, I've heard a lot of people talk about the run game. And so Latavius says to me, hey, like, I think we have to establish to run and be productive in the run. And I said, what does that mean? What do you mean by productive in the run? I thought his answer was fascinating and something I definitely want to share. So this is something courtesy of our friends at Nice 247. Latavius's take. Here's Latavius's take on what it means to have a productive running game. When you think of running the ball, like what do you see when you go, okay, yeah, this is working?
I think efficiency, half plus one, right? That's kind of what I've been my math and thinking. If it's 1st and 10, can we get 6, right? If it's 2nd and 4, can we get 3? Half plus one. And so just being efficient, running the ball, moving the chains, I think that helps with that. But when you're able to run the ball, that obviously opens the rest of it up.
And it'd be interesting to see Miles Montgomery's had a couple of scores and some big runs called back by penalty. The Knights have to cut down on the mistakes, have to cut down on the penalties.
Yeah, I think it's interesting Latavius's take on that, right? Like, I think we all think of the running attack as big, long runs, but what he's talking about are kind of slow, kind of paper cuts, right? I think the idea of half plus one is interesting to consider in terms of how you get a productive run game going. And think about if you do that over the course of a couple quarters, at some point that wears a defense down. So I think we're all waiting for that big home run play and that big, 10, 12, 15, 20-yard scamper. But, I think establishing the run is what Latavius is referring to there. And I think that'll be a big test on Saturday. I think North Carolina's offensive line maybe is a little bit suspect. Defensively, I think they feel really good about their linebacking core specifically. And I think they have some guys up front they like a lot. So can UCF establish that run game, and can you start getting half plus ones? I think it's an interesting thing to kind of chart as you're watching the game on Saturday.
Knights 247 with Latavius Murray sponsors the Sons of UCF post-game shows that you can find on Sons YouTube. And of course, you can hear from Latavius every week in content on Knights 247. Well, this one is not the biggest. Yeah.
Sorry, if I can tease really quickly, Trace,
Yeah.
if you're a part of Knights 247, I may have angered Latavius at the end of this conversation today because
whoa, there's a tease.
Well, I had to go into the archives to figure out his record against Bill Belichick, and let's just say that didn't go so well. So if you're a part of Knights 247, you will hear me ask Latavius about his record against Bill Belichick, and we'll leave it at that. But hopefully somebody will be talking to Latavius next week. Maybe
it might not be you.
I'm not sure it's going to be me, but somebody will talk to Latavius Murray next week as part of Knights 247.
Well, we're both going to talk to our next guest. He's Miguel Chavez from Knights Fan Shop with a little announcement, maybe breaking a little news, a little giveaway action. Miguel, welcome back.
Whoa, hold on a second. Hold on a second. What's this man wearing here, Trace?
Look at this. Look at this.
Bounce out. I love that hat.
That's
that's a good one too.
That's a nice shirt. For those who don't know Miguel, he is the proprietor of Knights Fan. I think I'm actually wearing a. This is on plan. I'm actually wearing a Knights Fan Shop shirt tonight. But he's kind of the man behind Knights Fan Shop. Some of the gear he's worked with us. He helped design the logo that's on this hat, on this microphone stand. So he's been a big part of what we've done here at the Suns. And he's got a really cool thing that he's working on that I was happy to be a part of, Miguel. And I know you want to share more about what that is with the rest of Knight Nation, but a really cool program that you have that people can get some cool graphics and really kind of up their social media presence with what you're working on there. Tell people more about what you're doing with your new Founders Club.
Oh, no, absolutely. So first of all, I appreciate y'all having me on. I know that y'all have a lot more important guests to do and to entertain and have on. So I appreciate the time here. Real quick, with Knights Fan Club and Knights Fan Shop, it's been a work in art, like a work in progress. And I think this iteration gets you more art faster. And so every week we drop one of these UCF tickets, considering that now in the day of everything digital, you don't get anything physical. This is our way of doing a digital version of a physical ticket. And then, spoiler alert, at the end of the season, we will print these out and we will give them out to you. So that's a special giveaway that we haven't announced yet. I was holding it out here. Every ticket that we will have for the rest of the season, at the end of the season, we will print them out, ship them out to you as a thank you for being in the club.
Yeah, some really cool graphics you're seeing on screen. This is this week's current graphic, Miguel, and you've gone kind of old school video game. I don't know what you call this. Like, is this like 32-bit? I don't know what you call this, but it's definitely kind of a bit of a throwback there.
No, absolutely. So, I mean, all different tickets come in all different art styles. I think the first two, like, it did a play on, First Frost 2. Then UCF Salute came out. And this week, I wanted to do something special with Nitro versus, or a Knight versus one of the Rams from UNC. And definitely went into this pixel art. Last week we released some of this pixel art that I was doing. I was like, what if we do pixel art for the ticket? And that's kind of how this came to.
Well, again, obviously, Miguel, tell people how they can get involved with what it is that you're working on there with this club and where they can get access to. And then we have a special announcement, kind of a giveaway you're going to do, but tell people more about how they can find you, how they can maybe get involved, how they can get their name on the list so they too will get some of those cool graphics from you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So if you visit, it's knights-fan.com or shop.knights-fan.com or anywhere in my social media, Knights Fan Club, Knights Fan Shop. You can find me there. The link is attached. Today, we'll be doing some giveaways for anyone that has signed on to the Big 12 cohort. And so we're dropping these cohorts every once in a while. So the Founders Club was 8 seats. We sold out within 12 hours. The first 5 seat went away in 45 minutes. And so we're trying to limit the seats that we have. One, because the custom art, to put your art in it, takes a little bit of work, takes a little bit of finagling, and I just want to make sure that I have enough time at the end of the week to be able to provide everyone the right value. Outside of that, how I see Knights Fan Club, it's 3 components to it. I think the first component is the one that we talked about with the digital art that gets dropped every week. So every week you get a ticket, you get a social media stab, you get a little art for frame for your social media account. But that's one part of the fan shop. The other part that we're going to be talking about today is the giveaways we do, part of it every month. And so for all our founders that are on the call, I'm also live at school right now. We'll be doing our first giveaway live here.
Oh, wow.
And this giveaway is the 2025 UCF jersey. And so every month we're giving something away for free. Like a part of the club, you're going to get it. I thought it would be kind of weird if we gave just something to our founders. So I got a couple other special things. So anyone that signs up today for the wait list, you'll also be in a drawing. And so we have a couple giveaways to do. One, the jersey for all of our founders, and then a couple of the arts.
Are we going to announce some winners here, Miguel? Are you picking something out of a hat? How does this work?
So I got a wheel set up with all of our
Everyone
wheels.
does. Yeah.
And,
Everybody has a wheel.
It's a digital wheel. So
Of course
I'm not going to spin it live here, but
Okay.
there is a wheel here. I think we start with the jersey first. Anyone that saw that the Knights fan shop giveaway, if you sign up today, we'll be giving out some other items. I see a couple people already taking up the offer to sign up. So I say we first give the jersey away and then we give some art away.
Listen, it's your world. We're living in it, brother. Tell us who's going to walk home with this jersey. Is it Trace Strelko?
Trace is not in part of the club yet. So I mean, Trace. I'm telling you out here publicly. I'm saying Adam is part of the club, and it would be kind of awkward if Adam wins. I have no say in this. If I would screen share, I have everyone's name on this. I have all of our founders: Adam, Hector, Zen, Mary, Gianna, and Lenny. We have all of our founders.
All right.
I unfortunately didn't put my name because I think that would be a little bit weird. But let's spin the wheel.
Trace, if I win, I'll give it to you, Trace. How about that? If I win, I'll give it to you. Okay, here we go.
He said it live.
I said it live. Yes, I'm looking out for Trace. Here we go. Who's going to win? I'm excited. I feel like I need some music for this.
Spinning music.
He seems excited.
Hector has won the
I don't know who you are, Hector.
I mean, I will screenshot this so that this. Oh, now I'm all blurry. I don't know what happened.
It's so exciting that Hector won that. Your bandwidth doesn't know what to do with itself.
It's not today. Let me take a screenshot of this.
Funny thing is, Miguel also does IT in his spare time, so that's also.
That's true. That is true. Part of the frames that we do, honestly, that now that you bring that up, we have a processor that happens that not to get all geeky and nerdy, that takes your image from Twitter, pre-process it, uses AI to figure out where's the center, and then puts the frame around it. That's a little bit too much of how the sausage is made, but I just wanted to talk about it to say there is a little bit of technology behind all of this. How about some giveaways?
We got one more. We got more. Let's give some stuff away. Here we go. Yeah.
All right.
It's not my stuff. Give away all you want. Feel free.
All righty. Let's see.
Adam, I get this next item too if you win.
You can sign up for this one, Trace.
Am I included in this? I don't know.
Adam, you can sign up again. You both could be included in this one.
We'll see. All right, that's fine. Who the winner is, Trace?
All right, let's see. Let's spin it.
Spinning that wheel again, huh? Really need some music for this. I apologize.
Yeah, I mean, I should share the audio that's coming out of this.
Yeah, well, we should plan this better next time.
Okay, Gabby. I won't say last name, but Gabby, I got your email.
Congrats.
What is Gabby winning? You know what? I hear those are popular, by the way. I really hear. I hear people love those. Yeah. Okay. All right. We got anything else to give away, Miguel? I don't want to blow your inventory out here. Anything else to give away?
Let's do one more. Let's do one more.
I love when Miguel does. Let's do one more. Here we go.
Let's see.
I feel like we're Oprah. Let's go. One more. What is this for, by the way? What are we getting here?
We'll give
He's just giving stuff out of
Just
his
picking
house.
stuff off the shelf. I love it.
We'll give some art away. It's
Oh,
pre-wrapped.
nice
It's the Orlando
art
one.
there. Okay.
Has the
Okay.
Oh, I
tassel.
like that
It
one.
has a couple other items. One of my favorite ones.
Wow.
Let's see.
From the personal collection of Miguel Chavez. Here we go.
Stanley. Again, I won't say last names. I'll email you.
Stanley, congratulations, buddy.
Those are some items that we were giving away today, so I appreciate it. Adam, not to put you on the spot here, but I did want to ask you a question.
Okay.
Out of all the things that we do in the Knights fan club, what is one of your favorite items that we do, or what is one of the favorite items that you have received?
Oh, geez. So yeah, you know what? Honestly, Miguel, I love the not that. Sorry, hold on, wrong one. I love the ticket concept because I think one of the things as fans that we all love is the ability to have kind of those paper tickets. I actually have a little thing behind me here of tickets. So I love the concept of having something like this. I can print out at the end of the season, something unique, right? Obviously, these are just kind of helmets on there. So for me, I love the ticket piece of it and having some of the stuff that I can hang on the wall and keep forever. And 10 years from now, I'll remember First Frost 2 is as designed by Miguel. So I think that's my favorite part.
No, I appreciate it, man. And that's all I had for today.
That's all he's got for today, but he's got more giveaways. So again, if you want to sign up, go ahead and scan this QR code right here on screen. Obviously, if you're watching on replay, that QR code still applies. And is that Central shirt that you had there? Is that part of this second giveaway?
Whoever signs up today will be in a drawing for the Central shirt.
And that's,
so
listen,
you're
friends,
excited about Central. I will definitely be dropping.
As a clothing nerd. I saw that's an All in Motion shirt, Miguel. That's a nice Target brand All in Motion comfortable shirt. That's a good shirt.
You saw that, didn't you? You saw that.
I know my stuff. So again, make sure you go scan this QR code, sign up, and you can be walking around Saturday with one of only, I guess, 3 shirts on that say Central. So you can find Miguel and the other individual who won, and you guys can take a picture together, and it'll all be good fun. Again, Miguel, we appreciate all you do for us at the Suns. Obviously, we love your artwork. I love the work that you do. So hopefully you'll continue to get some success with that, and hopefully we'll see you on Saturday. Knight's going to win on Saturday.
Oh yeah, by a lot, man. Should I put the score? Should I put the score?
Yeah, give me a score. Drop the score. Here we go. What do you
got? 27-10. That's what I think the scoreboard is going to be.
27-10. We will take it, Miguel. Take care, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miguel.
27.
Good stuff. I love his designs. Very unique designs.
We're really quick to grab that shirt I gave you, Trey. I mean, you were really excited about that. If it's free, it's me. Is that your motto? Is that what's going on here?
Definitely. We thank Miguel for his support of the Sons of UCF. Getting back into the talk about Central and North there. You had opportunity to dig in a little bit more on the Tar Heels with Lee Pace, part of the radio crew for North Carolina. Let's hear that preview.
Well, at first, Adam, I thought it was crazy. I just didn't see the fit there at all. But then, once you understood it was real and that it could happen, and then inevitability happen, you start to peel back the layers and look at the backstory, and you see why this would appeal to both sides. Nobody realized it at the time. But, Bill has remembered and cherished his very short period of time in Chapel Hill as a youngster when his dad was on the coaching staff of George Barclay in the mid-1950s. And in my book that you mentioned, I just happened to hope you can see that of a young boy sitting in Kenan Stadium. This book was published in 2016, and I did some research, and I knew that Bill Belichick's dad had been on the staff, and I found out that I don't know how I came across the photo of of a young Bill in Kenan Stadium, but I knew it existed. I called the Patriots office. I was able to get an original copy of it and use it in the book. And so Bill has kept his dad's coaching sweatshirt for 70 years that he's kept. And he and his dad were very, very close, and they spent a lot of time together. And his dad spoke very glowingly of his time at Chapel Hill and that he liked Carolina. And so, and another fascinating element to this was Bill Belichick's first job offer out of college in 1975 was in college football. It was to NC State over in Raleigh, just a half hour to our east. Lou Holtz offered him a job as he was coming out of Wesleyan College. And Holtz had to renege on the offer very soon after offering it because of some financial issues in his university, and he didn't have the money he thought he was going to have. So what if Bill Belichick, his first job had been in college coaching? The career may have been totally different. So anyway, he is essentially a teacher and an educator, and this was a good environment for him. I think he and his associates, Mike Lombardi and several others, they had soured on the NFL idea, and by all accounts, the NFL had soured on him. So it was just it was a move that made sense in a lot of ways for a lot of people.
Well, yeah, I'd love your insight, right? From outside looking in, it feels like there's been a bit of tumult as Belichick has come to the Carolinas, of course, and all the gossip stuff notwithstanding, just his kind of fit in college football, some of the things he's done. But you're there, day in and day out. So from the outside perspective, we might be perceived as seeing a lot of tumultuous movement. What have you seen from the inside as Belichick's kind of integrated into Chapel Hill and integrated into this football program?
Well, the two elements of that. Number one is there's the storyline that this was just a placeholder job, that he was just going to come for a year, maybe two, and then get the right offer and go back into the NFL. There is absolutely nothing to that story. I can assure you that this man is locked and loaded on coaching this team, this program at this university. He is. They say there's no grind like a Belichick grind, and that's what people in Kenan Stadium or Kenan Fieldhouse or Football Center have learned the last 8 months, that he is in there early morning. He's in there at all hours. He is working hard. He has developed quite a bit of respect and affinity for the history of the program because he's got some connections with Lawrence Taylor. He was with the Giants when he drafted LT in the 1981 draft it was. And, he can cite chapter and verse of all the great players. So he is very highly engaged in working on this. And certainly in late April and early May, the Jordan Hudson story was a media firestorm. It took off. It was all over the nation and the world. And for whatever reasons, it has quietened down 99%. Jordan is still around. She's come to the game. She'll occasionally be at practice, but she is not that visible around the program, around town that much. She has very much bled into the background and is doing what Bill has said that she is there to do, is to be a personal relationship and handle some of his personal business connections. So those are two, I think, themes that seem to be out there on a nationwide basis that are just not issues here close to the program at all. One thing that he really enjoys doing is before they get into the meat of the practice is he pulls the guys who are the field goal block team and works with them for 10 or 15 minutes. And it is a laboratory in angles, projection, handwork, how you dive, your get off, how you double team guys, how you attack blockers, just trying to block a field goal. And so that's something else. And of course, there's the star element of it. It's, wow, here's Bill Belichick. But then they realize he's just another guy. He's just a guy in there leading them and coaching them and, in there grinding with them every day.
So through 3 games, what do you know about this North Carolina football team? What are some things that you feel pretty comfortable saying, I know this about this team already?
You can see some vestiges of it being a Belichick coach team. Number one, they're averaging 4 penalties a game, which is about half of where they were last year. The defense, you can see some sparkle there. You can see some players on that side of the ball. We knew that Andrew Simpson and Thad Dixon were going to be playmakers. They were both from the transfer portal, came from the West Coast. Kamari House is another one, but some other players the last few weeks have started to emerge, and that has made a difference. So you're starting to see some playmakers on defense, and Carolina went 2 weeks without allowing a touchdown, and that's the first time since 2012. that they have gone back-to-back weeks without allowing a touchdown, and they did very well in the latter stages of both the Charlotte and Richmond games of having some reserves in there, but keeping their focus and not allowing a touchdown. And both teams were trying to score touchdowns late in the both of those games. You can see the special teams. You can see that they're going to be solid, that they do the little things well. They've got a good kicker. The punting has improved. The coverage has been good. Simple things, fielding punts has been solid. So those things have all been there. The big question mark, though, Adam, is with the offense. It has not yet established an identity. It hasn't figured out what it's majoring in. Gio Lopez has had some bright spots, but for the most part, he has not shown what everybody had hoped he might. But there again, in his defense, he did not come through. Excuse me. He did not come through spring practice with this team and this staff and this playbook. So he needs some the benefit of the doubt to try and loosen up and see what he can do. And so to answer your questions, those two games, they did what Bill and the team needed to do, is just show some progress, show some stabilization, do some little things well. They controlled the middle 8, the last 4 minutes of the first half, the first 4 of the second half, done well. They've just done a lot of things like that well, and hopefully they'll look to build on that up Saturday in Orlando.
Let's talk about the offense for a second. One of the things UCF has struggled with is 5 new offensive linemen, getting them on the field, used to each other, acclimated, new systems, new quarterback, new cadence, right? How has Carolina kind of fared in that same realm? Obviously, with a new O-line, a new coaching staff, new quarterbacks. How have you seen that take shape with the Carolina offensive line?
It's been much the same as you cite with the Knights. It's just been couple of injury issues. A couple of kids who were slated to play extensively at center and guard have not played hardly at all. There's been one returning player, Aiden Banfield, from last year. So the rest of it has been piecing together. One true freshman has been there, and several guys from the portal. At Charlotte last week, Damon June, who was a true freshman from Jacksonville, not highly recruited by Power 4 schools. He had offers from East Carolina and App State and Toledo. And then late in the summer of 24, before his senior year, Carolina got involved and offered him. And so he took that. And but he's a downhill runner. He's powerful. He's got good speed. And he did what all freshmen have to do. You have to just show up and be consistent and secure the ball and show you got some acumen and pass protection. Because I don't care what kind of running ability, if you can't help in pass protection and can't secure the ball, you're not going to find the field. But that's something he's going to be very good at. But Davion Gauls and Caleb Hood are also a couple other guys with experience and who have seen the field. So Carolina's pretty deep in that area.
Lee, if North Carolina wins this game on Saturday, why will that be? What will they have to do to come out on top on Saturday?
Continue to build on what they have done the last 2 weeks, play good defense, be solid in special teams, and they've got to move the needle and get better on offense, however they decide to do that. Carolina's only thrown, I believe, for like 450 yards in 3 games, and you've got to go back to 1990 to find a year that they had as little production in the throwing game. Now, part of that was the way these last 2 games have evolved, and they just wanted to hand the ball off and move the clock. But this is time for Gio Lopez to show. His nickname on the team is Magic, because he does things with the football and handling the ball that some teammates thought, well, that looks like Magic Johnson. So he certainly has a resume and some bona fides from South Alabama. Now, hopefully, after three games of live bullets and live action, that he'll settle in and they'll find what he does well and what he can do well, and get him in a rhythm like they haven't done before. Well, I think from perspective around here is because they've been on the schedule and had been on the schedule. Everybody had kind of been watching them since Scott Frost's first tenure there in 16 and 17, and going 13 and 0 in 2017. Maybe dropped off the radar under Gus Malzahn, but a quality Big 12 opponent, in the state of Florida. And if you play football in the state of Florida, you're going to be good. So this is a game that totally has Carolina's attention. I don't know what the odds makers are listing, but I would think Carolina would be the underdog coming in here just because.
Last line I saw this morning was UCF favored by 7 by a touchdown right now.
Yeah, that sounds about right because of just being on the road. It's a game that has everybody's attention here, and we're certainly looking forward in 2027 to having the Knights come up here.
Adam, maybe these teams are fairly evenly matched. You heard Lee say Carolina trying to figure out its offensive identity, which may play to UCF's defensive advantage.
Well, I kept some of the conversation, Trace, that he mentioned about special teams in that clip. You saw the full interview with Lee will be out in about 14 minutes, 9 p.m. Eastern time on our YouTube channel if you want to see all of it. So you can catch the full interview. But I kept the pieces about special teams in there because that's something Belichick obviously was known for in the NFL. And to hear he's spending time with the unit talking about blocks and hand angle and things like that, it strikes me as this is an opportunity for UCF to really kind of showcase who they are. And if they have any cracks, if they have any kind of lapses, a well-coached team like what Belichick typically does could take advantage. So we know we talked offense, defense. We haven't talked about that third game. I thought it's interesting that Lee brought up special teams a couple of different times in terms of, that potentially being a strength for Carolina.
Of course, this game, 3:30 start, the Bounce House Saturday on Fox. A couple weeks ago, Night Nation thought maybe, just maybe, Big Noon Saturday on Fox would come to Orlando, be back at UCF. Of course, opting instead for Utah and Texas Tech, the premier matchup in the Big 12 this week. Let's go around the Big 12 now with Jeff Allen.
We have 8 games involving Big 12 teams this week, with 3 of them being conference games. Let's start with the non-conference schedule first. Friday night has Oklahoma State hosting Tulsa, 7:30 on ESPN. On Saturday, SMU visits TCU in the battle for the Iron Skillet, 12 noon on ESPN2. UCF welcomes the fighting Bill Belichick's at North Carolina at 3:30 on Fox, if you can't make it to the Bounce House for that one. BYU travels to East Carolina, 7:30 on ESPN2. And in Big 12 After Dark, Colorado entertains Wyoming at 10:15 on ESPN. The 3 conference games lead off with a ranked matchup as number 17 Texas Tech squares off with number 16 Utah in the big noon game on Fox. West Virginia takes on Kansas, 6 o'clock on FS1. And Baylor battles Arizona State in Waco, 7:30 on Fox. The teams taking a bye this week: Houston, Cincinnati, number 12 Iowa State, Arizona, and Kansas State. With your Big 12 Minute, I'm Jeff Allen.
Jeff Allen, always so smooth. I'm enjoying, we're doing a new thing now for the 365 Sports newsletter. We do a little video exchange. Like, we haven't done enough shows during the week, but we got a new clip that goes up on that newsletter.
We do. If you go to 365 Sports.video, again, all 16 teams from the Big 12 are represented there. In your inbox, Trace, I got it again, second week in a row in my inbox. So go to 365sports.video, sign up. If you want to learn about the teams coming up, obviously Kansas State, the next opponent, you'll have a Kansas State recap in there. They'll give you some insight of what's happening with that program and obviously through the rest of the Big 12 calendar. So perfect time to go sign up. Really excited that the Suns, we can represent UCF in that community there. Check them out at 365sports.video.
Well, I went on to Lee's social media, and he had gone back in the archives to post some photos. You got to see this one if you haven't seen it.
Lee's a historian, by the way, of North Carolina. He's got some stories in the rest of the interview, by the way.
If you would bring up the photo he's posted on his social media. Look at this from the Jets media guide way back when. Look at a young Scott Frost, Bill Belichick there. That is great from the media guide. And then, look, is that number 47 is Scott Frost there? Look at that. The DC for the Jets, Bill Belichick. This is the 99 Jets. Andrew Cherico, a big New York Jets fan. Jets at Tampa Bay on Sunday. I believe Mr. Cherico is going to that one over in Tampa.
Good luck with that, Cherico.
Of course, Scott Frost, quarterback at Nebraska, drafted in the 3rd round by the Jets. At safety, right? That's
correct. Yeah. I asked Lee about that, obviously. In his presser this week, someone asked Belichick about that, and he started rattling off round and number and snaps and plays. And I said to Lee, I thought it was impressive. And Lee said, I guarantee you he did not research that. That was off the top of his head, and his knowledge of his teams and his players as well too. I also found it funny though. I did some digging on the 365 Sports newsletter. That if you go read that, Scott Frost's best year as a Jet, the year after Belichick left. Not saying there's beef, Trace, but I'm just saying his best year, the year after Belichick was gone.
Now, if you've researched this, you probably know. I'm hitting you with a trivia question. You watching, play at home. He was a Jet from 98 to 2000. Where did he go after that? Do you know the series of moves that he made in what was about a 6-year professional career in the NFL?
Wow. Tampa Bay is calling.
Hitting you with that one. You did research.
Tampa Bay, is that right?
Tampa Bay. He ended his career with Tampa Bay. 3 other teams in between the Jets and Tampa Bay.
Atlanta feels right.
Atlanta feels wrong.
Does it though? Huh. Are you sure it feels wrong? Denver feels right.
Denver also wrong.
I'm enemy in the chat here want to help me out. I mean,
so a Jet from 98 to 2000 ends his career in 2003 with Tampa Bay. Had stints. You want me to give it to you?
At this point, you're going to need to, because the chat has completely let me down. We got a Dolphins, McGusto complaining about something again. Black and Gold Digger Bowl book it from Patrick. Oakland. No. This is the help I'm getting from my constituents here.
Okay. Cleveland in 2001, Green Bay in 2002, San Francisco, and then Tampa Bay in 2003. So now you know the rest of Scott Frost's 6-year professional career in the National Football League. So there you go. Speaking of coaches, all eyes have been focused on Scott Frost, Bill Belichick. Hey, how about Bob Diaco? Remember the UConn head coach? He is now D-line coach for North Carolina. Of course, Diaco coined the term civil conflict to try and get that rivalry going. What's this a photo of? Is this the trophy on the sideline?
This is the trophy. The trophy that UCF left at UConn that was unearthed and sort of reimagined by UCF potentially. So this is the last known sighting of, I guess, the original civil conflict trophy.
Do you believe it exists somewhere, or do you think it's lost forever?
I think, we've seen pictures. We've seen some folks take, I think maybe it's been refurbished, reimagined perhaps. Yeah, newly refurbished. So maybe the original may be gone forever, but that's a rainy day up there in Hartsford there. Perhaps it got ruined, and I think there was some real wood on the outside of that. So perhaps they needed to do some woodworking there. So yeah, I think it's maybe the original's gone forever, but the memories, Trace, they always last.
They last forever. Good memories this week from Christian and Bailey on Pegasus Podcast, and Brian Peterson.
Sorry, Trace. We got good memories from Jan Perez, who now just hopped in live. He is at the soccer match. Jan, can you hear us?
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
we got
Jan,
you loud and clear.
The Knights have had chances, women's soccer, in their opener in the Big 12 against West Virginia. What's going on? How much time is left?
There's only 6 minutes left in the game. So far, there's been a couple missed free kick opportunities and penalty takes that have sadly, not gone through. The first half showed a lot of shots from UCF, 6 shots in the first half compared to West Virginia's 1. But they haven't been able to score yet.
Well, I imagine when you speak with head coach Tiffany Roberts-Haydeck, she's going to rue that they missed some opportunities here.
Missed a couple opportunities. Thing that's has kind of affected the team so far is that they're having trouble with offsides. It looks like West Virginia's line is playing very up, causing them to keep running offsides and getting just ahead of the ball most of the time.
Well, there's still a few moments in this one. Maybe the Knights will notch a goal and get their first Big 12 win of the season. Jan Perez out at the UCF Soccer Complex. Thanks for being with us on Sons of UCF Live.
Thank you. It was great speaking with you guys.
Thanks, Jan. Live reporting on action. Sorry, Trey. I saw Jan was ready to go in the shot.
You saw him? I didn't know he was ready. Knights missed a PK. You hate when you see the team.
You can't miss a PK, Trey.
You can't. They missed a PK in the first half.
They kick you out for that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. So this is the home opener and Big 12 opener, a home opener for the Big 12 for the Knights. As I mentioned, a lot of memories made this week. Christian and Bailey on the Pegasus Podcast. Brian W. Peterson, he's the best pinch hitter we've got, right? Off the bench, comes in, fills in for a busy Eric Lopez as part of Around the Kingdom. And you've got the little mashup this week.
I hate math so much.
When did the this is I don't need to ask this question.
Go ahead. You're about to ask something
when
really
was
dumb.
when was the Pythagorean theorem like established or discovered?
When
I
did they
don't know.
found the Pythagorean theorem? I don't know.
Because I'm thinking, like, in 1693, was that a thing they were learning? And I'd love this. We're 13 minutes in the podcast.
Before I answer the question, let me ask you a question, Bailey. What is the Pythagorean theorem?
I'm a Denver Broncos fan. Most people may not know this. I was born in Colorado. So if we're going to stick with that NFL team, I also follow along with the Denver Broncos. Florida Panthers, I mentioned. Give me the Florida Panthers. And I'm also a graduate of FAU, Florida Atlantic. So they're right down the street, and I'll make it to some FAU football games when I can. Go Owls. There, got to get the whole thing up there. That's what they do. Go Owls.
Go
Owl
Owls.
fingers.
Did Brian really flash us a Go Owls around the game? Is that what
Who else
happened
is
there?
putting out that kind of content? The Pythagorean theorem, which Bailey did not answer, I don't think, by the way.
You know
And
what it
we're
is?
getting I don't. I have no clue what it is. I'm terrible at math. I am a mathematical
Isn't that science?
idiot. You see, that's the problem, Trace. Is it? I don't even know. Who knows?
It relates the lengths and sides of a right triangle. Who doesn't know how to Google?
I guess me and Bailey don't know. We're the
Pythagorean.
only two left. Yeah, there's Team Bailey on this one.
You can find that and so much more. Our reports from UCF football during the week, a volleyball recap, and more on Sun's YouTube. It's our temperature check portion of the show as well, Adam.
Yeah, make sure you go download Temp Check, available at all the app stores you may frequent. It's allowing you to keep your circle together so you can check on your people, whether it's during a game, after a game, maybe after the celebration, after the big win on Saturday. You want to make sure everyone's okay. Temp Check is the app for you. It's not just an app, it's a movement. Again, available wherever you get your downloadable apps. Founded by some Knight alums. So make sure you support them and go download Temp Check today. Not an app, Trace. What is it?
Say that again.
It's not an app. It's a
lifestyle choice.
It's a movement. It's
Movement.
a movement, as you wrote yourself on the particular sheet this week.
Well, I was trying to go
There we
from
are.
memory, Adam. You didn't like me hitting you with that Scott Frost NFL career stuff.
I didn't
so you
know.
turned
We
it
gotta
around.
rehearse this better. I'm gonna start doing that to you. Go ahead, continue.
Of course, we mentioned women's soccer just a moment ago with Jan at the soccer complex, 6-1 on the season. This is the opener in the Big 12. They're looking to close out with a victory, but it may end up a draw. Volleyball, they dropped their Big 12 opener 3-0 to number 21 Baylor. Knights now 0-1 in the Big 12, 7-3 overall. A little bump in the schedule. They're off to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, where they face Memphis on Friday, Alabama Saturday. Back home, they resume Big 12 play against Cincinnati on Wednesday. Men's soccer, they open Sunbelt play Friday at number 22 Kentucky. They're 2-3-1. They beat Jacksonville in their last one, 2-0. Cross country, 13th in the South region. So we've got a top 20 cross country team. So say the U.S. Track and Field and Cross Country Coaches Association, which is a lengthy name for an association.
I have questions here.
What's the question?
How do they rank what's the criterion they use to rank the teams? Why aren't we 12th?
Well, I think they're looking at scores and times, right? Times. That would be important.
And the U.S. Track and Field.
You're really getting back at me for hitting you with that Scott Frost.
No, listen,
thing.
the U.S. Track and Field and Cross Country Coach Association rolls right off the tongue. There wasn't a shorter name available. They couldn't have found a more concise way to do that. Continue. I apologize.
Men's basketball announces its non-conference schedule, opening November 3rd against Hofstra. Adam, where's Hofstra?
Hofstra is in the it's in the
Continental
greater
United
Virginia
States.
area. Virginia area?
That sounds good to me. Also, UCF, a late ad, they announced an exhibition with LSU at home noon on October 26th. Of course, a couple days before that, another exhibition, they traveled to Duke. That one is special, right, Johnny?
Whoa,
Dawkins
Trace, have
knows it very well.
you, I'm going to just interrupt you all night tonight. Have you looked at the tickets for that? It's like $1,000 to get into Cameron Indoor for an exhibition. Because I may be able to.
It goes for charity, right?
I don't know who it goes to. It goes out of my pocket. I know that. And it's like $1,000 just to get in for that particular contest. I may be up in that area that week. And I was like, hey, maybe I'll swing by. And then I was like, hey, maybe I won't. I have a kid in college. We're not checking. I'll donate to that charity. I don't know that I can throw $1,000 to whatever charity Duke's got. But I wish them well, by the way.
I did not know that about ticket prices. I don't know anyone who is planning to attend the game, and I'm not sure that
now you
will
know
even
why.
be on TV. Yeah. All right, and that is our temp check around UCF sports landscape. Now, time for some questions.
So it's a mailbag. So what?
So what? Do you know whose mailbag that is?
It's that time again. Time to open the Brian W. Peterson Sons of UCF mailbag.
Hi, fellas.
Golden Knight _ the second with Chapel Bill referring to UCF as Central. Is North Carolina a directional school as well? I love that. I love the shade on that question. Isn't
I did
North
learn from my friends at
direction?
Tar Pit. I heard from my friends at Tar Pit, if you just call them Carolina, that's actually offensive because then there's also South Carolina. They don't want to be confused with that. So I don't know that North would be as annoying if you just call them Carolina.
Got to be some UCF students with some good signs in the bounce house on Saturday with reference to this, though I imagine Bill's infamous significant other might draw some more of the attention in the sign department. At Black Gold _ Ed, will Asante Samuel be on the Belichick sideline or with the Knights? Arguably one of the best cornerbacks he ever drafted the Patriots. Here's the deal, Asante. Okay, you're attending a college game, your alma mater. You better be on the UCF sideline. You want to go see North Carolina, then that's fine there. But while you're here, right, you got to be.
I don't think we've seen Asante around UCF all that much in recent years. So
Wasn't he there when game day was here in 2018? I thought that's when the last I remember seeing him. I think
perhaps,
I interviewed back then.
Yeah, I mean, so that's what I mean. I'm not great at math. 7 years ago at this point, right? So I don't think we've seen Asante in recent years. So if he does show up, to your point, he's going to have to be on that home sideline, or else we got problems.
At UCF, NBA legend Michael Jordan played basketball at UNC while his two sons played at UCF. Do you think the family Jordan will watch their alma maters play each other this weekend? And if so, is there a wager amongst them? Well, Marcus has got some time on his hands.
Definitely a wager, knowing the Jordans and some of Michael's history. I think Michael Jordan does live in Jupiter or somewhere in that Jupiter area. So is this a Tiger Woods Stanford situation from 2019 where you'll see Jordan on the sidelines? Now, he was at the opening game against TCU where they got shellacked. So maybe he's had enough Carolina football for the season.
Scott Leinard, what do you think is the key to the game this week? Line play, establishing the line of scrimmage, which will give quarterback one some time to throw. And as Latavius Murray mentioned, the running game to get going.
Line play, I think start out fast, right? I think we've seen UCF where they've had opportunities to make plays at the beginning of games. They start out fast. I think they'll be okay. Limit turnovers. I think Belichick's going to want to try to force you into mistakes and force you to do some things you don't want to do. Limit turnovers, take care of the football.
You know, Scott Frost has been talking about seeing what would happen when the team faces adversity. Over the first two games, they faced the adversity of some weather conditions. Obviously, the concern for Coach Clark has been adversity team-wide and program-wide. But we haven't really seen Taven Jackson face adversity of guys right in his face, right? He's had it relatively easy in his time in against Jacksonville State as well, North Carolina A&T. Interesting to see how he may respond to a greater pass rush. At Mr. Ed 315, what's your prognosis UCF football against North Carolina in the next 3 to 4 games afterwards? One at a time. I do think, though, this one's an important one on that quest for 6 wins with Kansas State. I think fans want to say Kansas State has struggled and UCF's going to go to man. I don't think that one's so easy. Take care of business at home and then, then put your attention on Kansas State.
Patrick Nurse tells us women's soccer ends in a draw.
Missed opportunities for women's soccer.
Yeah, I said it around the Kingdom overtime, Trace. I think the only 2 games on our schedule I look at and I go, oh man, that's an uphill battle, are Texas Tech and BYU. I think the rest of the games, based on what we've seen right now from these teams, I think they're kind of coin flips. If you show up with your best performance, I think the rest of those games are winnable for UCF. But a big caveat, if you show up with your best performance, I think Kansas State will be at home, something to prove. So I wouldn't go down and go, oh, Kansas State lost to this team, so we can beat them. I think that's a fool's errand. I think we tried that the last couple of seasons. We saw where that gets us. I think you focus on playing the best you can. But outside of Texas Tech, BYU, I think UCF has a chance if they play well to win the rest of the games on that schedule.
UCF Knights win. Alex Grinch has to be a little bit starstruck going up against Bill Belichick, considered one of the greatest defensive coaches in history. In your world, who would you be a little starstruck of if they pulled up a chair next to you and watched you do this podcast? I know when someone pulls up a chair next to you, Adam, and watches you do the show.
Are they staring at me? Because if they're staring
become,
at me, there could be problems. There could be problems.
I think I'd be thrown by that stare kid. Remember if he just showed up and stared at me while doing the show. Would you,
the word star, I don't know. Starstruck is not the word I would use. There may be some people where I'd be like unnerved, scared. And
Asante Samuel.
Well, again, candidly, if Asante Samuel sat in this chair next to me, I'd be like, wow, that's odd. That's Asante Samuel's here. If to answer the question honestly, if we're talking like someone in this like media space or whatever, I guess if Scott Van Pelt was sitting right here, somebody I think does a really good job at live sports broadcasting, I guess that would be somebody I'd be like, wow, Scott Van Pelt's right there. But candidly, anybody who plops themselves in this chair right here while I'm talking to you is probably going to get me a little bit unnerved. Not going to lie to you.
I've never been in your studio. Looking forward to it, though, when I spend the weekend when UCF baseball's up in your area.
I'm on by.
Myself.
Studio is a loose term, by the way. Loose term.
I went to the Tonight Show one time out in California. You know, it looks so big and expansive on TV. It's just a tiny little studio. I picture you're just a huge room where you broadcast from, microphones and chairs and all kinds.
I can almost see Alaska from where I'm standing right now, Trace.
And that is a quieter mailbag this week. It is, however, time to play What's in the Box, and I get to ask the questions this week.
Dude, What's in the Box brought to you by Alumni Hall, by the way, 4100 North Alafaya Trail. You want to get some gear? It's a blackout on Saturday. If you don't have any black UCF gear, A, shame on you, but B, you can fix that. Go to Alumni Hall or check them out at alumnihall.com/UCF. Grab yourself some fresh gear for Saturday. It could be hot. It could rain. You never know. So maybe multiple shirts. Dolly wants to know, by the way, would Dua Lipa have impacted your performance on a podcast? Should she pull up a chair?
Dolly is correct on that one. I'd be unable. I can't read tonight. I wouldn't have been able to read with her. I've got two here that I like. I'll toss this one back. I added some new questions. I went searching for would you rather, since you like asking those would you rather.
Oh yeah, good. I like that.
Would you rather spend the weekend with pirates or ninjas? So silly.
Do the pirates have weapons?
I did not write.
Like, what are we talking like?
Weaponry.
Oh, hey, matey. Like, what are we talking like? Old school pirates?
Isn't that what you think of when you think of pirates? Right? You're just going to be hanging out with Johnny Depp, and that's the pirates.
Yeah, that's what. If we're talking like nice pirates, like fine, but those guys in that Tom Hanks movie who took like the cruise ship and I'm the captain now. I don't want those guys.
I never saw that one. Yeah, that was more serious. That wasn't quite as fun.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go pirates because I feel like ninja now, unless I'm in trouble and I need some help, then ninjas would be super helpful. But I can't imagine a scenario where I need help from ninjas. So I'm going to go pirates on this one, Trace. You're not going to answer this, by the way? You're just going to act like you're not on the show too? And
I'm going to... Oh, pirates, yo ho ho. The pirates I'm hanging out with are more fun. I don't want to be doing
Pittsburgh pirates,
hanging out with ninjas. You can't see them. I don't want anything.
Yo ho ho.
The Cubs beat the Pirates and are in the playoffs, so I'm happy.
Is yo ho ho a pirate term, and I didn't know it?
Okay, I've got a second question I'm going to ask you. I'm giving you two this week. Name something unattractive.
Man, that's a lot. How much time we got left on the show? Look, I have a long list of pet
Too
peeves,
much time.
A long list of stuff that's probably going to get. The first that came to mind: people who talk on their cell phones in public on speakerphone.
I'll stop doing it.
Get out of my life. They have earbuds for a reason. They have private space. If you're on your phone and you're on speakerphone, like walking the aisles of Publix and like yelling in the phone, and I don't, out of my life. Go.
So what inspired this question? You know, last week I shared with you that as I was leaving and subdivision and going up the road, like a guy with a humongous skeleton, and now he's added skeleton a skeleton dog and skeleton kids, and the whole thing is just too much. But there's a woman walking, middle-aged woman, and she just spits on the ground. And I thought, well, that was pretty unattractive. So that's I jotted that down. I'm like, I'm throwing that into the I found that to be highly unattractive on my way to work the other day.
Well, you don't know what's going. Maybe she swallowed a June bug and she was trying to, trying to relieve herself.
June bug?
Whatever. I mean,
what is this, 1957 here? What's going on here?
Relieve herself of the discomfort of that. Jan's a big fan of skeleton, by the way.
Jan, it's been out there since August, and he's added a dog and kids, and I don't know, the whole thing. This has been
that's a good one. People rude to wait staff. That's a good one.
Well, yes.
Oh boy. What do you mean? Well, yes.
No, of course.
It seemed like there was a caveat coming.
No caveats. No caveats.
Tell me more. You have a story, don't you? You've done something to a waiter.
I have no stories.
You have. Absolutely have.
I have no stories. It's the end of this show that I think is your favorite part of this show, but this show has been an experience this week. We want to thank Jan Perez for joining us from UCF Soccer, Lee for giving us a little insight on North Carolina. That interview now available on Sun's YouTube. You're going to be in town for the North Carolina game, right?
Front and center, my friend. Yes, we will all be there. I think most of the Suns crew, the Suns Army, I think will be in attendance there. So I can't wait to meet some folks and say hello. And let's just hope the weather holds up, Trace. And there's only one man, by the way. I'm going to jump ahead of you because now we're here and this is a better segue. There's only one man I do not want to see on Saturday, and that's this guy.
I'm Eric Burris, meteorologist at West 2. Thank you for watching Sons of UCF.
Because if he's there, that means there's some weather problems. So, Eric, sure you're great at your job. Love you to death, buddy. I don't want to see you on Saturday.
Dedicate that to JP Gilbert. For Adam Eaton, I'm Trace Strelko. Go Knights.
Charge on.